Welcome to my adoption channel. My name is Nairi, and today we're going to talk about those really nice things that you can have when your adopted child first comes home. So not necessarily essentials, although some of them I think you might actually think they might be, but things that are going to make life really much sweeter. So if you're interested in anything around adoption at all, please hit the subscribe button in the corner of the screen and the notification bell. So my first idea for you is when your adopted child comes home from the foster carer, obviously they're leaving the foster carer behind, but the foster carer will have some up-to-date pictures and photos for you. And I think what would be really nice is that you ask for a picture or photo of the child, and that you actually frame that photo and put it in a place around the home where the child's going to be able to see really easily. And that way the child feels welcomed into the home immediately as they see a photo of themselves in your house. That's my first idea. My second idea for you is having like a storytelling chair. So normally you would have that perhaps in the bedroom, where if you can fit a really nice comfortable chair in the bedroom where you can sit alongside the child and you can share story times and cuddles and stuff like that. It may be that you don't have room in the bedroom, in which case you kind of find somewhere in the house that's a special chair that you and the child are going to sit for cuddles later in the evening. And that way you can have somewhere that you can really build attachment, which is obviously going to be crucial in those early days. Connected to that, it's really good to have lots of good short stories, nighttime stories for the child, so that they're not complicated, the messages aren't complicated, the pictures are really nice, and you can really engage with the child. But as well as that, I would write handwritten messages in the books. So these will be keepsake books that throughout the years the child will come back to and say, do you remember you used to read this story to me? But also you can include foster carer messages as well, because I do really think it's important that you allow the child to still connect in their mind to the foster carer that they've built an attachment with. So these storybooks could have little messages from you saying, welcome to your new home, this is one of the first storybooks we're going to read. It might have a message from the foster carer saying, thank you for the lovely times we had together, love, whoever it is. So use the books to write really nice messages as keepsakes, but also, a bit like the photo, welcoming them into your home and making them feel secure from the very, very beginning. Something else as well that adopters don't think about is the fact that children will have familiar objects and things that they're used to from the foster carer's home, and one of those is going to be their bedding. Now you will have your own taste, of course, and you will be thinking about, I want to go out and I want to buy everything, I want to buy them all the new clothes, I want to buy them all new bedding, I want the room to look beautiful. And I think from an adult point of view, that's what we want to do. We want to spoil the child immediately. But it'd be really nice if you do have at least one set of bedding that you can bring from the foster carer's house, because even if it's to show the child that you have it, it may be that they would, to start with, prefer to have that favourite bedding on their bed because it's familiar. It's basically, it's not about promoting the foster carer's choices over yours, it's a familiar thing for the child to come into. And a really crucial idea in all of this is a transitional toy. So check out, I'll link a video at the end of this video about transitional toys. But you need to have something that when you first go to introductions you take with you. So it's not actually going to be a gift. You can give a gift if you like, but this is going to be a toy that goes between you. Now when it's with younger children, sometimes social workers suggest that you hand over something transitional so that the child can get used to something that has your smell on it. But I'm talking about a cuddly toy or something significant that they can carry around with them. And the foster carer will use it to say, oh, this is from your new mummy and daddy. This is or from your daddy or from your mummy, and this is what you're going to take him or her, this toy, with you when you move. And so this transitional toy spends lots of times at the foster carer's house and then comes home with the child when they come to you. So make sure it's something that the child can carry around with them. So it's not some massive great teddy, or it's not something that makes so much noise that you wouldn't want it in bed with them at night. Make sure it's cute, make sure it's cuddly, make sure it's probably soft, and then that child will have that transitional toy right in their room when they arrive, or sitting on the settee when they arrive home waiting for them. Or you take it when you pick the child up for the last time from the foster carer and bring that toy with you. So I also suggest having downstairs, it depends on your house of course, but if you can create an area that's clutter free, that's kind of very much about the child and where the child can be safe and have a kind of like calm zone. If you can create something like that downstairs, which you can call a name, any name you like, it might be the name of the child, say this is your space, maybe they can have a calming down area there, but something that you think is very much for the child, because what you might find is that actually they don't want to play in the bedroom at all. So you may set it up amazingly with loads of toys in it, and actually stuff might come from the foster care as well, but the child just wants to be near you. So it's really, really handy if you've got somewhere that you can go with them to play, and somewhere that you can go with them actually to make a mess as well. Could just be that you do that on the kitchen table, yes, but if you can make a corner somewhere in a room that really just belongs to that child downstairs, that will also make them feel more settled, enable you to build that attachment really well with them. So a great idea for making a mess and for helping children to get rid of their anxiety is sensory play. I'm sure many of you might know that. So to have a box ready with sensory play in that you can handle, because at the end of the day it's going to be messy. So stuff in it like bubbles and chalks and Play-Doh, those are kind of staple. If you're happy to let them have washable paints, all in this box, then you can get the sensory box out when you really feel either you need it or they need it, and you can explore that sensory box together. And sensory, because you use the hands, it gives good signals to the brain and it can have a really good calming effect. So again, have the box ready, have it labelled, the child knows where the box lives, but gets out when you're around, and have somewhere that you're happy to make a mess. So if that means laying out oilcloths or stuff on your kitchen table, or it means having a little area outside in the nice weather, but have somewhere that you're happy for that child to make a mess. And also you can have a small water tray, so it could just be an ordinary tray actually, which has got a little bit of depth to it. They can put a little bit of water on, because I must admit, if you give children loads of water, they will get water everywhere, and maybe you're not up for that, but you can get small trays where you can fill it with water and put some bubbles in, and then you can add cars and boats and stuff like that. It's a really lovely sensory experience for them. It's really useful to have a little step-up stool. So I don't know if you've seen them, they can fold together. You need to be a bit careful of fingers, but a little stool that you can open out, and that means the child can join you for washing up. They can easily get to, if they're using a toilet, your toilet is higher than what they're used to, they can get up to wash their hands, they can get to the toilet, they can get to the bathroom sink. The stool can be carried around wherever it needs to be, so the child gets a better view of life and actually feels really connected with you because they're a little bit taller. So my next idea for you is quite an obvious one, I guess, and that is a night light and stuff for the bedroom to help them with fears and phobias and just settling at night. So imagine you bring in your child back for the first time and it's their first time in a brand new house, and you may not want to get into the co-sleeping thing, but that's another story. The Grow clock, G-R-O, clock is amazing because it gives off a nice blue light at night. It switches to yellow for daytime. You can work out when that daytime is going to be fixed for them, and it's not too bright in the room, and it has all these other features as well. So if you can afford a Grow clock, I'd definitely go for one, but some sort of night light for sure. And if you want to have the availability of music, I would get that set up ready. It may be that you don't need it, but having it available, some way of playing gentle music in the background. It could be nursery rhymes, it could be Disney tunes, or it could just be relaxing music. Find a way, a method that's easy to set up in the room that you can flick a switch and it's done, and it's not going to be complicated when the child's upset, because if you have a lot of anxiety and tears and things, you want to not be worrying about where did I put that thing for that music, where did I put that night light. You need it all set up and good to go. And this is one that I'm not too sure about. Some people really like this, some people don't, but blackout curtains is an option, especially if the child's an early waker, and you won't know that of course until you get into a routine with them. For some children it's just too blackout and it's too dark, but for some children it's really necessary. So I would have the options available and ready. If you can get a cheap pair of blackout curtains, have them stored ready to find out kind of which way you need to go with your child. Now, Some people might think this is an odd idea. I think it's a really good one. I'll leave you to decide. Recorded messages from the foster carer, I think, is a really good idea. Your social worker might not, you might not. But at the end of the day, we're still asking this child to leave someone that they love. If they've had a good relationship with the foster carer, which you would really hope they have, then some recorded messages, which I wouldn't suggest you play into the evening just before they're going to bed. You're not wanting to unsettle them. But every now and again, maybe, you know, once a week, twice a week, you could play a message from the foster carer saying, how are you doing? I'm so glad you're in a new family. Hope you're doing well. Lots of love, whoever it is. Recorded messages, audio, and recorded messages, as I've said, in books, but anywhere else, little letters from the foster carer, or letters from anywhere or anybody else that you think would have been significant to the child now that they've moved to you, because you don't want them to think that they're in silo. They've just moved into this house, however lovely you are, all the connections of the past have gone, and that could be really distressing for them. So try to keep some of it alive. So let's get on to eating. It's a big one, of course. Children love eating, some children hate eating, but there's ways that you can make it nicer for them. So the first thing I definitely would do is get them their own special bowl, plate, knives and forks. Even if they're quite old, when I say old, even beyond 5, children still really like it. So you can get melamine, bamboo, whatever whatever you fancy, but with a nice design on it. You could actually choose that with the child and go out quite quickly to go shopping, but actually if you can get it in and you know what their favourite characters are, it'll be a nice surprise when they come. And connected with that, a really lovely placemat, so that when they come to sit at the table, hopefully you do sit somewhere anyway, they know where their place is at the table. And if you've already got that and you lay out that placemat and you lay out those bowls, spoons, plates, they already feel like you've thought about them and they belong. If you can actually get their name done on a placemat, even better. Obviously there are some unusual names out there and that might not be possible, but it would really make them feel like they belong if they have their own place at the table. And something else that really helps children as well is for them to know that there is a snack box which you're allowing, and that you have some control over it. You know what you're happy for them to have, and that you know what their favourite foods are. And so every now and again they're allowed a little treat, and they can go to the snack box and choose something. Now of course you can regulate exactly what you want in there, but I would be really careful about going all healthy in the beginning, unless of course the foster carer has already done that. I've met foster carers that actually would never let their children have sugary snacks, and it would have always been fruit. So for that child, it's not going to be that they're looking for anything else. But of course if the foster carer has allowed them the odd bag of crisps or the odd chocolate bar, then for you to go straight from them having that to them not having any of that is really, really difficult. So be flexible with it and have a snack box where they know where that snack box is, because many foster children have problems with worrying about food. They have problems with overeating and undereating and all sorts of problems around food, and for them to know that you've thought of them. So again, put their name on it. You've thought of them, that every now and again they're going to want a little treat. It's going to be really lovely for them. Practical, I would have a clean-up box which can be taken out into the car and kept in the house. So horrible noses, grubby hands, not really so much for the paint. You're going to need a full-on washing up bowl for the paint, but have a little clean-up box ready. It's got wet wipes in it. It's got whatever you feel that is going to be necessary to clean them up, and it's quick and it's easy. You go for a trip, you take the clean-up box with you. Really useful. And secondary, of course, you're going to need a first aid kit anyway. That's a given. But I'm going to suggest what I call the magic kiss box. This is my favourite out of all my ideas, if I might so say. So it's a little box which would be having lovely designs on it, patterns, a really attractive box called the magic kiss box. When your child hurts themselves, obviously not when it's something major, but they've grazed a knee, bumped, whatever, you go to the magic kiss box, and in there is stuff which is low level first aid. So you haven't got your kind of resuscitation stuff and your gloves and your scissors in there. You've got kind of like your magic cream, and your special plasters that have got Peppa Pig on, and just things in there which are going to make them feel better. Something that you can kind of patch over a knee, which is like a nice gauze and it's nice and soft, and of course you give them a magic kiss, which is actually what makes them feel better. It's that closeness, that touch, and the fact that you've cared enough to have this box ready for when they have bumps and accidents. You find some children with insecure attachment in particular, they either go crazy when they hurt themselves and they scream the house down, or actually they go really, really quiet and they don't want you. And it's really important for them to know that you're going to be there for them when they hurt themselves. There's a list as long as your arm is what you could have when the child first arrives home, but I think there are some different ideas in there. So I'm going to link the transitional toy video for you now to have a look at, and I'll also link a playlist for you on attachment. And if you've not subscribed, please do, and I'll see you on my adoption channel.